Footsteps meet on hardwood floors, laughter spilling from the doors. Different tongues but hearts the same, learning life beyond the name. At the International English Cafe, talk your troubles right away, sip your tea and stories play. At the International English Cafe.
Okay, welcome to the call, everybody. My name is Thanh. I am the host for today's meeting. Today's meeting, the topic is themes of good versus evil. So we are in week 2 of the month, and usually for week 2, I like to do vocabulary building, word games, and or language arts. So this would fall more under the language art schemes of things. So with that, just kind of a little bit of a thing on this. I've been so on YouTube, for me, my YouTube feeds tend to have a lot of videos that would pop up regarding books and or movies that has to do with themes of good versus evil, like the Marvel movies or Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, things like that. So I figured like this would be a very good topic to delve into. So when learning literature in school, we may come upon certain concepts, and so figured this was a good week to explore that. So we can talk about various movies, books, and how the theme of good versus evil come about, especially through characters, symbolism, etc. So with that, would anybody like to freestyle in, or like would you prefer to have a question to help start things off?
To start the topic or something?
Yeah,
Specify?
because like you can freestyle in and say whatever you like, or you can, if it helps to have a question to help guide you, I can provide that too.
I do believe that in each person we have the bright side and the dark side inside us. But the problem is, should we let out everyone else to see our dark side? No one could be perfect 100% of time, all the time, but no one can be bad, even the prisoners. Yeah, thank you. That's what I want to say.
That's pretty good. So IU and Juan Franco, would you like to include your 2 cents? Hello.
From my side,
Yep.
I'm agree with Vanessa said about her opinion. So yeah, a good versus evil. I mean, you cannot see a good just only outside, because that someone can be have a different purpose, being a good to someone. Can you understand that? So good is not always good, and evil is not always evil. It means like it depends on the person. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can be a good to someone, but you are not honestly, you are not sincerely inside of your heart being a good with someone. And of course it will be same with the evil. Even though you have kind of like a job, probably illegal job or a bad job, but your heart, you care someone behind of that, from them to see you, to meet you, probably you are what is a angel for them.
Yes.
So that's from my side. Not always evil become a evil, not always good as a good one. So something like that.
That's very good. Nice. By the way, hi, Francisco. Welcome to the call.
Hello, Nan. Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome. We're just getting things started with the topic. Today's topic is themes of good and evil, good versus evil. So right now, like just having people kind of just jump in. Do you have any particular thoughts regarding good versus evil?
It's a sensitive topic
Hmm.
because the country where I'm calling you, we are Catholic.
Mhm.
So thank you very much for bringing up this topic. Back to you.
Sounds good. Juan Franco, how about you? Any particular thoughts to start things off?
It's interesting the comment de Vanessa and the Ayu. But in my opinion, in my personality opinion, I think the people I have different way they learn different things. For example, in my case, I think for me it's very important you try to understand your feelings in your talks. For example, for me, my way is try to discover my new things, but in my side, in my feelings, no.
Mm-hmm.
But it's my opinion. This situation, it's my opinion. Say the not exist good things, ni bad things. Only exist things. And in this moment, I read in this book and say the more important is try to dissolve it your thoughts, your feelings, no?
Yeah.
Try to save these things important only for you. But it's very important the one person learn these things important for this person, only for this person. And it's very, very important say the other point of view, the word,
Yeah.
and try to see it's different. I think there is different words for one person, for other person. This person I have learned new things in your life, no? It's different opinions. Yes, the culture is different,
Mm-hmm.
and the family it's different. I think in your life is you try to learn things that you need, and it's important find these things that you need. In my opinion, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so this is on a good start of things, right? And notice how a lot of people, or so for the most part, there's kind of this, I mean, it is a sensitive topic of what is considered good versus evil, right? Notice how in some cases it seems like they kind of blend, right? Like what is considered good? Is good actually good? Or is good actually evil? Is evil actually evil? Or is evil actually good? So there's kind of this sense of blurred lines. So figured like this might be a good question to kind of go into, right? So like to delve into the more of the literature aspect of things. So rather than focusing too much on, our personal thing about it. Let's look into other forms of media, literature, or just storytelling in general, where there's themes of good and evil, right? So in many stories, good and evil are not clearly defined, right? So what are some examples of characters who blur the lines between the two? So in this case, now let's think about movies that you may have watched, books that you may have read, right? Where there's themes of good and evil, right? So are there particular characters that you could think about that you feel that may blur the lines of this? So Vanessa, start things off since you have your hand raised.
Yeah, the first thought on my mind is Tom in Tom and Jerry. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
for Jerry and for the audience, Tom is a violent person, or anyone, not sure. Okay, a violent person who can hit, who can think of cruel tricks, yeah, to catch Jerry. But for Jerry and for the house owner, yeah, he is just doing his right up responsibility to take care of the house. Yeah, so I think Tom.
That's a very interesting example. Nice. That's very unique. I like that one. Cool. Um, Anybody else have a thought, like in terms of a character that blurred the line between between good and evil? By the way, hi Matt.
Well, good morning, Dick.
Good morning, or good morning to you at least. Today's topic is themes of good and versus evil. So kind of had everybody started off with their thoughts on good and evil. And so I put out a question, by the way, hi John, to kind of continue things on, right? Since a lot of the members had thoughts of where there's a kind of like, in a sense, blurred lines between good and evil. Figured this is a good question to get things started, right? In many stories, good and evil are not clearly defined. What are some example of characters who blur the lines between the two?
Yeah, I can say that the story about Robin Hood.
Mm,
So this kind like a story they stolen from the rich people to help the yeah the the local people, which is they know they always in property situation. So
Poverty, yeah.
that mm-mm. So that's I just know that the story of Robin Hood, which is yeah, like I mentioned before, this job can like illegal and then criminal or something like that. But behind of that, there is a goodness of purpose to help the others.
That is very true. That's a good character. Nice. Oh, by the way, hi John, welcome to the call. All right, I think I already said your name. Just ping you like this. Alrighty.
It's Miss John Barker.
Oh, yeah. Um, that was we can delve into that a little bit later if you like. But no, that was kind of a sad situation indeed. Okay. So anybody want to answer next in terms of the question?
Yes, me.
Okay, go ahead.
For example, in this moment, I think the one example, in my opinion, it's good, is the Dr. Jekyll.
Oh, Dr. Jekyll.
Yes, it's good, and the Transformer is bad, no? But it's the same person.
Yep, exactly.
Is the important. I think the real solution is the balance, no? The balance you have in your talks. But I'm good. This person, this character, for
Yes,
me.
totally understandable. And it's essentially too like I think it's like if he drinks the potion, he becomes the the beast. But at some point he can turn back to, or no, or the potion is what led him to this situation to begin with.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay. So like Matt, like do you have a good grasp of the question?
Yeah, actually, I can't wait. And I heard you talk about commentary film, right?
Well, if you look at the
Yeah.
chat box, I posted the question. Um, I mean, we had a little bit of warm
No,
with this.
sorry,
Yeah.
I haven't not seen yet on
Okay.
that question.
Check the message and see. So it says like in many stories, good and evil are not clearly defined. What are some example of characters who blur the lines between the two? So does that help you a little bit more to kind of get an idea of what's going on?
Yeah, me.
Yes.
Yeah, for me, I'm not often to watch that film so far, but I know a little bit on some cartoon film
It doesn't
on
have
the
to be
television.
cartoon. It could be
Yeah,
books. It could be other
because
movies.
it's organized for kids. And sometimes I watch a little bit camp, but I think it's funny and relax while life when we read camp. And but I think it's content is a good for kids because I think it's so up bad and good sides in our life and then also in the society as well. Because it's also one of the good lesson for learn because when we have bad side and then we try to do it to good side as well. And if we have it, okay, we try to better. And that I think cartoon film that kind of educate for kids very good, and they know how in the character of film, and they make correct themselves to be better. Yeah, that's my opinion on that film.
Okay. Well,
Thank you very much.
okay. Yeah. Just to let you know, this is not necessarily like just specifically for kids, right? This would be kind of topics that if you're at college, you would delve into and write essays about. So it's not, it's not, you don't have to like think of it as just restricted to just children. Because especially when it comes to blurred lines, right? Like I think that's very more adults. Kids, on the other hand, have more of a black and white perspective of things. This is good and this is evil, right? But when you become adults, it's like that's where it's blurred lines, right? Like, what is really considered good and evil? So what kind of characters would be examples of that? That's kind of like where the question is. But in any case, let's see. Francisco, would you like to go next?
I've heard yin yang.
Mm, cool.
And it is one idea that I like the idea of black and white. There's things that are good to you, and there's things that are really, seriously affect you directly. So yes, yin yang.
Okay. Pretty cool. By the way, welcome to the call, Nikki. How are you?
Hi, I'm good.
That's good to hear.
Mhm.
Let's see. Um, we're talking like today's topic is themes of good versus evil. So we're just gonna talk around that topic. More specifically, bringing up books and or movies and or other forms of media that contains the themes of good and evil, right? So after having kind of a warm-up talk with that, like it rolled into nicely to this one question, which is in many stories, good and evil are not clearly defined. What are some examples of characters who blur the lines between the two?
Mhm. Mhm. I see.
Do you have any thoughts of a particular character that seems like they blur the line between both good and evil?
But right now I didn't have any idea about that. So can you please give me some minutes to think about it and gonna give you the question later?
Okay. Well, so that leads to me, right? First person that comes into mind is Captain America, from the Marvel movies. So there was an instance, or actually, this is both him and Iron Man, right? Um, so for those that this is spoiler alert, right? So for those that watch the movies, like the Disney movies of it, right? Um, in the beginning, when we watched the Avengers, um, Captain America has this very justice attitude. He's a kind of a guy that follows orders. He's always complies, right? Um, you got to follow the rules. You have to follow everything by the book. Um, Iron Man, he was a little bit more free thinking. Um, sometimes he wasn't necessarily someone that abide by the law or rules. He kind of has his own way. Sometimes has a problem with authority, right? So there's a different contrast between the two. No, it's okay. Have a good time, Vanessa, and thanks for joining. Okay. So there's a contrast between the two, but eventually their characters started to evolve, right? There were certain instances where Captain America started to focus more on the justice of things despite whatever the rules or laws may be. It felt like the authorities of some sort try to control all the superheroes, which sometimes may conflict with the justice that may be needed, right? Like there's people that are dying, there's people being harmed, and there's nobody to help them because they themselves would want to help the people, but they can't because the quote unquote higher power or authority won't let them, or would prevent them, or would make them do something else, right? So there's that kind of conflict. It started to so when you do watch the more of the movies in the series and the other Avenger movies within, you'll start to see that Captain America focuses more on justice, despite whatever laws, rules, or authority may be. Whereas Iron Man was a little bit more complicit with what those things are, right? He wasn't just freewheeling things at that point. So then they kind of had the clash, and then that what led to the Captain America movie Civil War, where they ended up fighting against each other over the kind of those ideals. Right? So like, what is considered good? What is considered evil, right? Like this is where like these are in a sense both sides are the good guys, and they ended up fighting each other, right? So who is the bad guys? Or so are the bad guys actually the bad guys, or are they good? Are the good guys actually good, or are they bad, right? Like there's this blurred line that came about, right? I'll point out something else in a little bit later, but like it's a very interesting perspective to view when it comes to that. So my characters would be Captain America and Iron Man. Thank you. Okay, Nikki. So basically everybody has gone, but just from my response, you don't have to talk that long, but the idea would just be to talk about a character that seems to have qualities that are both good and evil. Does that make sense?
Both good and evil. Because actually I didn't watch the movie a lot, so I don't have any idea in my mind right now.
Have you read books?
Yeah, but not so
So,
much. Mm,
so like,
can I
what do
tell
you?
about the story?
So, do you know a lot of? Do you know any stories?
The story?
Like, do you know any stories?
Yeah, of course.
Like, what story?
The story? How about the stories in my life? Um, mm,
Do you have stories that is not related to your life?
Yeah, let me think about it.
Like another story in my head would be like,
Yeah, I can tell you the stories about my life. As the people come from the Vietnam, the countryside of Vietnam,
okay,
and yeah, and you know that in my country, most of the old people, they are living when the kids were born, they hope that kids is the man and is the boys, not the girl. And I was born in the family, and I have two more sister and me. I mean that my parents they have three girls, and because I live in the countryside, so this is uh, um, my dad cannot have a voice to talk with the other relationship in is my big family
Okay.
because he cannot bond the the boys. I mean that in my country they are only like the the man. The man can say anything, and they think that the man say is right. And the woman, when we say something, even it's true, but the other people didn't believe about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could we
So,
so
uh,
um
so
do you mind
that
if I
is
stop you right there? So I can see you at least that this does touch upon the ideas of good and evil. Um I would refrain from maybe talking about things like this. I think mentioned earlier, Francisco mentioned that like this could be a sensitive topic, right? So in this case, the way where you're taking this would be a little bit kind of sensitive. This is kind of like why let's try to stick to like say books and or movies and things like that. If you talk a little bit more personally, this might get too personal. Um, like hope you don't mind, but like, let's try to uh, delve into like other stories, right? Like not your own story, but at least like things that are found in books, movies, and or others type of storytelling. Could be like myths, even for that matter. Because the idea is like the people that created these movies and books and things like that, um, the themes of good versus evil is crafted in a kind of way um, to bring out a particular type of meaning and or um, kind of analysis that is a little bit more well thought out that will play out throughout the book and or movie, right? That's the literature at like, this is kind of like language arts, so that's the literature aspect of things. When you talk about this type of stuff with in terms of your own story, like maybe if you, well, not maybe, but because it's too personal, it might delve away from a lot of this, and also like it makes it difficult for us to look into and analyze because it's too personal, right? Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
yes.
would rather not delve this personally because otherwise if we were to try to comment on that might not be a good idea. Just saying.
Mhm.
So if we talk about like the other like if we delve away from it, right, then like at least it's not personal and it will be a little bit more feasible, right? It will be something that we could find relatable.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, an example, right? Like, I don't know if you watch Finbo or like those Chinese movies, but like there's like an
Mhm.
example like the romance of the condo heroes or Tanduda here, right? That's in that movie, like Yunhua, right? Or
Mhm.
Yang Guo, right? Like basically, he would be an example of a character that has blurred lines because people deemed him as evil since
Mhm.
his father was evil, but then he did things that were good, right? And just. So that's kind of it would be things like that to kind of point out more, if that makes any sense. But let's see. Um, so far, like the people have provided certain good characters that kind of like exemplify these ideas of blurred lines, right? it's we can kind of see where some of the things that they do is makes us understand these characters, because we kind of delve into this idea that how sometimes there's good and sometimes there's bad, right? We're only people, right? So it's not like we're perfect beings where we're always going to be good. See, this is kind of like why yin yang, but Francisco mentioned that's a really good concept that you pointed out there, right? Because with yin yang, you have that circle with the two sides, but within the two sides, there are two dots, which represents that, like, even though there's evil, there might be a little bit of good. But even though there's good, there's a little bit of evil, right? It's a very interesting concept, right? So just dance, like we've been dancing around with what's good and evil, right? How about next would be like, how does the theme of good versus evil reflect human struggles in real life? So now in this case, Nikki, you don't have to talk about a story because I'm not referring to a story. You can then, I see that you wanted to talk more about your situation, so this might be a little bit more appropriate question to talk about that, Nikki, right? So just realize, right? Like, I'll give you the opportunity to talk about certain things like that, but let's try to at least kind of stick to a little bit more of like what the questions and or topics are, so that there's kind of a rhyme and reason to things. But so now, like, how do you feel about themes of good and evil reflected in human struggle in real life? And in this case, if you wanted to use those examples in your real life, this is probably
in the real life, actually, in my opinion, I think this one person, sometimes they are good, sometimes they are bad, but it's quite difficult to say about. Maybe someone can make good with me, and the other people, they cannot make. They can make bad with them. So it's quite difficult for me to say.
That's fine. But like that's a good start at least, right? Like pointing out that there's certain people to your perspective would be good and others that are considered not good. Yeah.
Mhm.
So okay, good start. Anybody else would like to take on this question? Okay, go ahead, Francisco.
When I was 18 years old, I left the house for the first time. I am living in a countryside. I left my home to move to the capital of this country. As I mentioned before, I discovered yin yang at the age of 18. It was interesting and funny at the same time, because during those years I had some issues related to my university career, a job, and so I needed to pay a rent by myself. All of this, it is curious because now I am reading what you have typed. How does the theme good versus evil reflect human struggle. So at that moment, I was 18, and I related a yin yang with a with thing that I thought it was impossible to accomplish. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cool. Anybody like to go next after Francisco?
Is this question that you put in the chat?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I think the good and evil is reflect in the conflicts the humans. Maybe the religion is very important for the persons and try to save your good. No? I think the many conflicts start in the relations good, relation bad. For example, the crusades start in this situation.
The says?
Yes, I don't know say in English, but you remember the crusades in Europe?
The saints?
Start the many people hide the cup the goats. I don't remember the name.
Saints as in like, you know, like All Saints Day type of saints, like that?
I don't know say in Spanish, but in Spanish in English. But it's the below the Jesus.
Yes. So saints. I'm guessing you're trying to say this word.
But you remember to start the conflicts for this situation, no? Defend the Jesus. But I don't know say in English. But I think yes, the good and the evil is reflect in the conflicts the human.
I see.
Yeah.
How about you, IU? Like you have your hand raised.
Yeah, from my side, a good versus evil, of course, that it will be reflect a struggle human in real life. Yeah, which is when you see this is a reality when you meet something like a bullying activities. So what you will do, because you are afraid inside, but you want to help your friend from bullying, you just stand up, watch that the bullying without doing nothing, because all uh, uh, who does a bullying is your friends, and you try to help the victim.
Yes.
So I think this is a really struggle when we see our friend doing bad activities, bad activities, and then you try to help them to be a right. Not try to afford, try to how to say try to let them know that the bullying is not good.
Yes.
So
You're trying to persuade
yeah,
them or guide them to be
yeah, guide your friend become a better person, a good person to the others. So even though you already try it, but your friend not listen to you, and then one day you see your friend doing a bullying to the other friends, you just stand up and then watch that the bullying activities. But inside of yours is kind of like a try to fight, try to help your friend, but you just see that you just see that without doing nothing.
Yeah.
So it's really struggle. And this is the struggle in the real life. So this is a kind of like a simple example that when it's common in our life. So there is no solution. The solution just come from you. That because you have option there, which is you help the victim or you just stay without doing nothing. Because they're all is your friend. You're afraid your friend will leave you alone, and because you need your friend or something like that. So yeah, I think that's the struggle in a real life.
That's one good example. Yes. Because like you're basically choosing one or the other, right? Because if you choose one way, then you lose out on the other in a sense.
Yeah.
Right. But that's a really good example. Nice. The Crusades began to recover the Holy Grail. Yes. There was that like in medieval, like not medieval, or it was like in Europe, the Europeans back in whatever that time frame is, and then they would go over to the Middle East to try to claim the Holy Grail, fight the Crusades and supposedly try to defeat the bad guys, quote unquote. Although like, are they really beating bad guys, or is there like a hidden agenda that isn't really talked about? Yeah, that's a good one too. Matt, it looks like you have your mic on. You want to
Yeah.
what are your thoughts?
Well, thank you, Tip. And I would say that because we have wildlife is 100% perfect, right? Not evil in our life, not a bully in the school, not toxic friends in a relationship, but actually the life is always good and bad sides, parallelism, and imagine to on the hand we have black and white color. It never have one, but always have two. And in society, our life also exactly the same way. And if we say, okay, we have it evil, it just love good. And then you can imagine how you learn from evil to be better for each life. And how we can improve if we didn't have evil parallelism in the life, right? And how we have the religion. I don't want to mention the religion, but I would like to mention the religion, right? And how we have every religion to teach us from the evil affect us a lot. And every kind of practitioner, their religion, they have to practice themselves to be better one day, next day, right? And that every religion, they don't want to have more reason to catch them, right? So I think I don't want to complain negative life, but I think I should be happy with that, and thank you very much to that, because I have them, and then I can grow myself to be better and I can recognize which one is good and which one is bad, right? And what I can do for myself, for the life better, at least for myself. And that I think not only my country, particularly and generally on the world, every country, they effort every single day to teach their people how good, how bad, and then improve, right? And so, for myself, I can be acceptable, good and evil in my life, and that kind of a good lesson for me to remind myself, okay, what I can prevent to be harmful to the others. Yeah, that's it my side. Thank you very much.
Okay. Understandable. So yeah, like especially when you're bringing in religion, it gets interesting, right? Because lots of religion tend to push certain ideals of what is considered good and evil, right? It's a way to help provide morals to the people. To me, so far, things that many of you have talked about, a lot of it deals with things that seems a little bit more grandiose, or actually not that great. Like a lot of them are relatable, but like I feel like it's kind of a higher level in terms of like distinctions of what's good and evil and some of the difficulties between those, right? Because sometimes you're led to a tough choice, whether you do bad in order to survive, or you do good and you ultimately die for it, right? Um, is it, where are we at that? I mean, that's not necessarily what the complete extreme is in a lot of the cases that you're talking about, but if you were to take it to an extreme, right, that would be kind of an idea where that is. In my head, for good and evil, for the human struggle, right? Imagine like you're working at a factory and you're making toys for kids. So there's proper procedure of how to do it the quote unquote right way. But you're told that by doing things the right way, it's slow. It's too slow. You're not going to get enough toys out there, right? So whoever is higher up will tell you like, hey, you need to do it this way that I tell you to, so that it can get done faster. But the problem is you're not following the steps in doing so. And that by following their way, there's a potential that there's risk, right? That the toys may not be of good quality, that the toys might break easily and or could lead to harm because of how easy it breaks, right? Like now, like the child could get injured very easily because it easily breaks now. So that's not a good thing, right? But then if you don't do it, you lose your job. But if you do it, you might harm a kid, right? So what do? Does your own selfish need outweigh the many, or does the will of many outweighs yours, right? And it's a struggle because although, yes, we should try to do what's the good thing, right? But what if the good thing that you do leads you to lose your job? Now you have no food, and then you die. And then when you die, who's going to take care of your family? Not the society. They're not going to directly take care of your family. You're the one that's doing it, right? But then if you're dead, then who's going to take care of them? It's a really tough struggle, right? Because like maybe you have to do this quote unquote evil thing in order to have your job, have money, put food on the table for your family, and they can survive because they depend on you. But the moment that you don't do this and you lose your job, then you can't help your family anymore. Who's going to help them? Right? There's no, so like IU said, right? There's no good solution.
Yeah.
This
It's
is why,
hard to choose.
right? So you can see there, right? Like this is why like thinking about this, it's really interesting, right? And it can get really sensitive for sure, right? So this is why like thinking about this, and at least you have an understanding, right? We're not here to find the actual solutions to things, but at least it's pointing us to be able to realize that some of this stuff exists, and it could exist in many forms. It could be in things that we might not think too much about, or it could be things that are so obvious, right? And even then, too, there are difficult decisions that you make. So so far, right, like just thinking about some of this, I'm hoping that it's leading you all to at least have a couple of ideas of things related to good and evil, right? There's I'll summarize it more later, but like so far you guys are making some really good points, right? One in terms of perspective, one in terms of decision making, right? These are good things that that's being pointed out through what you guys have been saying. You guys are doing good so far. Let's throw out another question. So like let's see what else that might we can end up getting into. Let's try this one. So, are good and evil innate qualities, or are they shaped by society and environment according to literature? What do you guys think? So, are good and evil innate qualities? So, meaning, you know, are these like the quality? Oh, yep, take care of that, man. So, the qualities of what is considered good and evil, are they qualities that we're born with, right? Innate, right? Or are they just shaped by society and environment, right? So kind of like, is it nurture or nature, right? Kind of idea. What do you guys think?
Okay. So from my perspective of this question, yeah, I think that a character to be a good or evil person is always according to what kind of environment that you have grown. You live with among people there, which is even though you right to choose that what kind of the people that you want to have around you, but if you still have not a right to choose, for instance, like this is your close friend, this is your family, so you live with there, you grow with there. So I think that's the character will build or create by them. If you have if you live with the good environment, I believe that you will be a good person, because they will teach you, they will guide you as a good person. Being a good person, I mean. So when you live among with the, I don't know, a bad people, with like a drug, and then what is kind of like drunk people always around you. Of course, that I believe that this person will grow up with the kind like this. I think it's depend on the environment that you have lived. So I'm not believe that the good and evil comes up from your side. I mean, from genetic from your side, but it's made from your environment that you live, that where you live.
Okay,
So that's from my side.
that's pretty good. And you know, you gave examples of how it's you feel like it's from the environment. Nice. Nikki, like you have your mic unmute. You want to go?
Yes, about my opinion, I think that's the literature, so that's good and evil are shaped by both nature and environment. For example, some story they suggest the people are born with the both good and evil inside, and the other they show the how society can um, turn the people from the evil become good. So
Okay.
most of what is both view. We may have a natural temptation, but our choice and enforcement can make we become.
Okay. Nice. So like in your case, like you feel like it's actually a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Most of, yeah, most of the situation, I think that is the both, but it's the depend on the environment and the nature. Sometimes we need to choice to become a good or evil.
That's good to point out. Like you know, like there's the idea of choice into this. Nice. Juan Franco, like you have your mic on mute? Oh, actually, sorry. I didn't see Francisco. You had to raise you rose your hand.
Are good and evil innate qualities, or are shaped by society and environment according to literature? I would like to say, as a human being, we don't want anything evil. We want everything good. So if someone is given up a possibility to shape, I will say we shape good things according to literature. This because even a Hamlet by Shakespeare, we have noticed that they are always trying to make things better. I mean, things good to humans. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you. Okay. By the way, welcome Fazle. Welcome, looks, I guess, FCCU, Rabia Asraf, right? And then welcome Nazmul Bashir. Hi. Thank you for joining. Today's
Hello, sir.
topic. Hi.
Good morning. Sorry for the late, actually. I just late to wake up.
No worries. It's okay. Like my meeting runs long, so you don't have to jump like at the start of the meeting. You can always jump in a little bit later, and the call usually should still be running, so you're fine. Today's topic is themes of good versus evil. So we kind of like talked a good deal, like have a little bit of warm-up talk first, and then I started providing questions here and there. I have a list of questions, but I'm not trying to put out a list of questions to bring to you guys. What I'm doing is based off of what we said in the warm-up, then it led to one of the questions that was in my list, so that I put that forth to have everybody answer. And then kind of depending on like how things are going within the call, then I'll put another question out there that might relate or be a good segue. So far we talked about how, or predominantly the idea of good versus evil, right? It's kind of blurred. Like what is good and what is evil? And is good really good, or is good evil? Or is evil really evil, or is it good, right? So it delves into a little bit of thinking about this, right? Because sometimes there's this idea of blurred lines, like it may be hard to distinguish what is really good and what is really evil. It delves into perspectives, because who perceives it as good, who perceives it as evil, right? So quite a bit that is interesting, just talking about good versus evil. So the current question that we're on is, are good and evil innate qualities, or are they shaped by society and environment according to literature? So with that, what are your thoughts?
Yes, I am, sir. But actually, I am sorry that I just recently joined since here, so I couldn't understand your point of view of the questions.
Yeah,
So if you just give me some time, then I will try my level best.
sure. Okay. Other than that, hi Nazmul, are you there? I mean, I'm not expecting you to answer the question right away either, because you just joined too. But just wanted to see if you're there and saying hi. So can you say hi, Nazmul?
Hi.
Hi. Welcome to the call. And I'm guessing you just woke up too?
Yes, yes.
Good morning to you. Okay.
Just time. Okay.
Oh, no, sorry. Go ahead.
Just I can't understand your questions. What was the question?
No worries. We did get to a little bit of the topic, or a little bit deep into the topic, with good versus evil. But
Actually, I did notice your questions. That's why I'm not prepared to answer. Next time I take good preparation for the questions.
oh, there's no right or wrong with this. It's just we're just talking about stuff, and then based on what we're talking about, I'm grabbing questions that essentially coming from ChatGPT. So kind of like imagine like we're talking, and then I'm taking notes, then I throw the notes to ChatGPT, and then it'll bring
Okay.
questions that will relate.
That's
And
a
then, yeah.
good technique. I'll follow that. I'll follow that technique.
Yep.
Also,
So there's not a lot of this is really pre-prepared questions for that matter. It's just that we're talking, and then as we're talking, then like I'll feed it to ChatGPT and it'll come up with more things, and then pushing it back out, and then keeping the conversation going. So in this case, there's not really a right or wrong, just because it really is hard to define what is considered good or bad. Like, so one of the examples, one of the previous questions, was, how does the theme of good versus evil reflect human struggle? Right. So examples would be like, say, you have a bunch of friends. Like, so this is what I use example was, right? Like, say you have a bunch of friends, and they're you're good friends with them, but these friends are bullies and they bully the weak. So it's kind of hard, because do you risk losing your friends over your ideals, or do you forego your ideals in order to have your friends, right? In Depending on what phase in life you are, that might be an easy decision. You can just let go of your friends, right? But in a different phase in life, it might not be an easy thing to do, because the sense of conformity, right? The sense of belonging, especially if you're in school, right? That's going to be difficult, right? It's difficult to not be a part of a group, because if you ostracize yourself away, you're going to be the one that gets picked on. And then you're going to be the one that's going to go through all the trauma and torture and pain and all the bullying too, which then make your life miserable, and you might actually want to commit suicide, right? So like, is that really worth the risk over ideals? So it's one of those things where, like, what decision do you make? But that's an example of what kind of like where difficulty lies. The example I brought up with, like, let's say like you work for a company, right, where you make toys. You have a family that you need to provide for, but so basically the procedure to make these toys, there's work instruction that you follow, but the people above you tells you need to do it in a different way, which could lead to risk and or hazards that from those toys, such that these hazards could actually harm children, right? So do you build the toys the way the higher ups tell you that could potentially harm kids, or do you build it the way you're instructed to do by the work instruction, and potentially lose your job, which means you potentially lose the ability to provide for your family, and now your family has nobody to provide for it, right? So what do you do? Like, what is good? What is evil? What are like what decision do you make? Now, the idea isn't to say that, like, oh, this is the solution and we're done, right? That's not the case. But because, like, there's not necessarily what we're looking for as a solution. We're just talking about it to understand that, like, hey, these are things that can happen in real life. These are things that they write in literature, that they show in movies, right? These are things that provide us either a moral, a lesson, or something that we can learn or kind of think about, right? And that it could influence our ability to think about those type of topics. So this is the kind of thing that you might find in like a language arts class, like a literature class, right? Like, you think about these themes, like, so reading books, and or like especially, right, is like, these are the kind of themes that you might visit or might come upon. So this is like what I'm bringing to this kind of meeting. at the same time, because it's good versus evil, at least that's something that most people kind of have kind of an understanding. Like for the most part, we kind of understand what is considered good and what is considered evil. But so far, having talked about this, we can see that, yep, take care, IU, and enjoy your lunch.
Thank you, Tons. Bye.
Yep, bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Yep. So you can kind of see that it's interesting that like some of the things that we brought up, right? Because one part of it is perspective. One part of it is decisions, right? So let's see what else we can talk about and then see what other things that can come about with this. So going back to question, right? Like, are good and evil innate qualities, or are they shaped by society and the environment, according to literature? If we were to look at literature, I think it was mentioned how like I think Nikki, the way you mentioned it, it's a little bit of both, right? Like basically part of it is the environment that you live in can influence you, the person, such that then you may turn out good or evil because the influence of the environment or society that you're in. But then in turn, like there could be aspects that you're just born with it. You're born being good or born being evil. There's let's see, what's an example, right? I'm gonna be cheesy. I'm gonna cheat my way on this one because there's a story called so it's the Condor Heroes trilogy, right? This is kind of a piece of Chinese literature by Louis Cha, which ended up being made into movies. So in the second installment of it, it's called Return of the Condor Heroes. The main character is the son of an evil man, right? So by birth, that he could have evil tendencies, right? So everybody around him believe that he's an evil person because his father's evil. He's just a kid. He doesn't know any better, right? So, but he was brought up with certain good people around him, hence he has goodness in him. So the traits does he have? Is it really evil or is it really good, right? And this is the interesting part. Certain traits that is considered maybe evil is like cleverness, which the main character is a very clever person. He'll do things in order to have good results, but then the means in which he does things for good results may be considered evil, right? Using trickery and lies. These are type of devices that may be denoted more towards evil rather than good. Because a good person would not lie. A good person would not use trickery, right? Those were evil type of tendencies. Yet he would use these kind of devices in order to lead to like a person's happiness or to lead to things that would have a good outcome at the end, right? So it's a really good example of what is considered blurred lines. It's also a good example of like you know, being born with something, but also being influenced by the society that's around you. So I think that's a good character. His name is Yang Guo in the Return of the Condor Heroes. But you know, kind of like an example out there to give you give some of the newcomers a little bit of an idea of what we're talking about. Does that help out a little bit?
Hello, sir.
Yep.
Okay, sir. So far as I can heard from you, so I make just a little bit decisions because I can give you some answers about the topics has been selected. So theme of good and evil. Actually, I am thinking about that. So the both, that is the good and evil, actually it depends on some parameters, it depends on some factors, because the deed which we consider as a good and the which deed we are considered as evil. So we need some parameters, we need some criteria that this task has been considered as the good. So these parameters is also has that in which point of view we are considering. Like, first of all, the good and deed has been considered from the point of view of religion. So I might be wrong, sir, but it feels like from my personal opinion. So from the religion point of view, we find these tasks or these activities can be considered as the good, and these tasks or the deed can be considered as the evil. So this is the first and foremost parameter from my considerations. We are considering a task as a good and evil. In some cases, if you think about it, depends on all the society, it depends on different countries. Like, in our country, actually, I'm from Bangladesh, so lot of drugs, like the smoking, like of different kinds of things, marijuana, these are the things, is totally strictly prohibited in our country. So whenever someone is taking this one, so this we are considering is a evil or the bad deeds, right? But in some countries, maybe I don't know, but in some countries it is not strictly prohibited. So those people who are taking this one, in them, those tasks or those things are considered as not the good, but not the evil, not the bad deeds. So as you told that a child is just newly born child, so he has been considered a evil because of his trending parents, because of his trending while he is living. So this is one of the reasons, this is one of the parameters that in some cases we differentiate a task between good and evil. So hope I can try to put my concept to you, what I mean to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. It was mentioned regarding religion and how religion can shape morals and or the concept of what is considered good and evil. Could even be cultural for that matter, which is a good point that you made. Very nice. Okay. Nazmo, does that help you out a little bit? Would you be able to jump in and give us your take on some of this too?
Then I have my
Oh,
my opinion. The last question.
go ahead. Yep. Go ahead, Franco.
In my opinion, I think you're born these things, good things and bad things. But in your life, you give food and the bad things or good things. I remember one book and say the whole persons. I have a shadow in your life. In your shadow, you keep the bad things. I think this is very important. You try to learn good things and try to keep food and this part and your good part, no? But in my opinion, I think you're born the evil things and good things. Thank you, my friend.
You're welcome. Okay. Trying to see like what question that will pop out. I'm not really fond with some of the things that's popping out at the moment. But just to kind of recap with some of the things that we're talking about, some of the things that arise from our conversation, right, is like perspectives involved and decisions made, right? So perspective, what does that mean? In one set of eyes, like there's you, right? So in terms of one set of eyes, right? Hi, Sally. Okay, so in one set of eyes, right? For you as the person, some people might consider you good because of these list of things and qualities that you did and have. And then another set of people may consider you as evil because of those same qualities and or things that you've done. It's a very interesting thing because so what does it mean to be to be good versus be evil, or to do good versus to do evil, right? The one example of this was Robin Hood that was mentioned earlier, right? He's a character in which he robbed the rich and gave to the poor. In terms of the rich people, he's considered evil because he's breaking the law and he's stealing. But then he's considered good because the things that he stole, he redistributes to the poor in order for the poor to be able to survive. Otherwise, they would have a really tough life, right? So what is he? Is he good or is he evil? And that's one of those examples of blurred lines, right? Like it's not necessarily that there is a good or evil, right? But that's good or evil depends on the perspective in that case. It's so that's where the perspective part comes into play, right? In terms of decisions, well, decisions of you as a person, do you do good or do you do what is considered evil, right? In the eyes of whatever it may be, whether it's society, religion, or other types of things that guides the moral compass, right? Because if you do good, you could be sacrificing what is actually really important to you, which could be your own family, for example. Would you put your family on the line in order to do what is considered good? Versus like, would you do evil in order to ensure the safety of what is important to you? It's a very hard decision. It's not like it's an easy thing to do. But these are the kinds of concepts and things that we would be dealing with in terms of what is considered good or evil. Like I said, this is not something that we have solutions for. It's nice to know what is considered good or evil, right? And that to be able to live a particular way, to hopefully live with goodness, right? Because what is the point of this? A lot of it is so that society, by and large, would be able to thrive, right? When the society is able to thrive, you can benefit from it. And then you and your family and other members of society would be able to thrive too. But if you have so much evil, ideally it destroys society, it collapses it, and then you won't be able to benefit from it. You will actually fall, you'll actually sink with that ship, right? Like that's kind of the overall idea of why there's what is considered good and what is considered bad. It helps to guide our behaviors so that what we do is a benefit to the society, which then becomes a benefit to ourselves, ideally. So it's very interesting, right? So like when we delve into this, read a lot of literature that goes into a lot of this, and you can start to see, or you can even watch movies that explore some of these themes, right? Which is the whole idea of bringing up characters earlier. But this is kind of like it helps if we had a book and then we could go into this, but I'm not doing the whole book reading thing. That's a different class in its own right, from Victoria. I don't want to steal her show for that one. But at least in this case, books that you read, movies that you watched, you can see that many of them have these ideas of good and evil. So what are these stories trying to tell us? And that's interesting, right? That's literature for you. By the way, Salih, how are you doing?
Yes, sir.
Long time no
Hello.
see.
Yes, I have long time absent. Yes, Tanhan.
But also too, this is around the time you would jump in because like
That due to my time here in Sudan, your room. I think there is different of East time and my country's time here in East Africa. For me, that schedule is like very early. And also I was busy by something. So this I think some challenge forced me, or I think let me to didn't join. But my excited today to join or to be here in your room. I think is very I think yes, has a big beneficial. Yes. Uh, yes. I think you actually you have something, and you are saying something with our colleague here in this room. I would like to know what exactly ongoing discussion ongoing now. Yeah.
well, today's topic is themes of good versus evil. So
Okay.
I just copied it and posted it into the chat box so you can read what it says. But basically it says, when learning literature in school, we may come upon certain concepts and themes. So for this week, let's explore the theme of good versus evil. So we can explore this theme through various stories, novels, movies, etc., through characters, symbolism, and etc. Right?
Okay. Right. Okay. All
So
right. All right.
we did touch upon certain characters, like characters from the Marvel movies, for example, right? Or at least that's what I mentioned. Other people actually mentioned some interesting characters, like from Tom and Jerry, for example. But also we did have some symbolism, right? Yin and Yang. That's a really good symbolism right there. Thank you, Francisco. That's a very good example of, that
Yeah.
idea of good versus evil, like that sense of duality.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Okay.
so in this case, we've touched upon this topic for at least a good hour plus. So with that, before jumping into the next thing, right? Because usually I like to do the whole comments, questions, and thoughts. I saw you, Juan, like you looked up. I know you. So yeah, so before we get to the whole comments, questions, and thoughts session of the call, did anybody want to speak a little bit more about their thoughts regarding good versus evil, or anything that we've talked about today? Fazle, you wanted to speak up?
Yeah, about the discussion, actually, I was thinking about that. The situation can be one of the another factor to consider activities as a good or evil. Like whenever I'm actually fond of watching movie, So in many situations, I found a villain and a heroes. A big fighting is going on between them. So they both have a gun or they have a single gun. So what we think actually in that time. So we think hero will kill the villains. So this is the generic thinking about each and every spectacular from the movie. Okay. So in some cases, just think about that. A fighting is going on, and in order to save his life of heroes, heroes kill the people, kill the villains. So in that situation is very important because if you think in generic sense to kill a people by a gun, so this is definitely a evil deed, right? But in the situation, the movie hero and villain. So what happened? The situation is if a hero kill a villain by a gun, so this will be good or evil. So the situation can be also one of the biggest factor then in which aspects, in which perspective you are doing that job. So that might be that can be the consideration of evil and deed.
Yeah.
Right. So if there is any controversial word, so as you have told any kind of controversial word, so you are alert. So that's why I'm asking. That is totally my personal point of view. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. And that's a good point, right? Because I think one of the things that we did point out was if you're trying to do good, but you're using evil means, is it really good or is it evil? Right? And that is that is a good question to think about. I mean, you could see that in movies and literature and such, but it does happen in real life as well. This idea of so it speaks to, I guess, I think is it an idiom or a phrase like a means to an end, right? Like that kind of idea. The how to phrase this? It's like the idea of is the end result more than the process, or is the process more important than the end result? Because like the process might be evil, but then the end result is good. Right? So that's it is a good food for thought right there. Very nice. By the way, I'll try to put that part of the meeting. I'll clip it and then I'll try to put it with the topic part because it actually fits with the topic pretty well. Thank you.
Yes, I got.
Yep.
But and I hope we are really very much grateful to be a participant of this group, and especially in Bangladesh, Friday and Saturday is the weekend, so we are always interested to attend your club. One of my member Nazmul Bashar, he is also with me. So hopefully we will definitely will try to attend each and every Saturday class of yours because I found in something special, something different from you. So that's why I ask you the questions if you are a student of the literature, but because of we found that you're analytical, your information is very much useful, and so hope I will not hurt you. Definitely, it's a very thankful to you. So thank you very much.
Thank you. In terms of things that I know, I think things that are more useful would be probably because of when I study for my MBA. Because before that, it's just me being more of a thinker. When I studied for my MBA, it's when I became more aware of being able to present myself, be able to communicate things out, to demonstrate things like that. Having that awareness of who my audience is to communicate to them. This is something that still needs to be practiced, by the way. This is not something that you can never perfect, I would say. Just because life consistently changes, your audience will always change along with it too, or like they're never going to be the same. How do you talk to people that aren't always going to be the same, right? I think those are interesting challenges. Like, you have your voice, you have something to say. So part of the communication process is how do you make sure that what you're going to say reaches to them? So a bunch of things that I'm saying right now, I'm not really sure if it would reach you guys, but if it does reach you guys, I'm happy to hear that. If it doesn't reach you guys, then I highly suggest you guys ask me questions so that, or at least tell me so that you don't understand, so I can figure out how to better say it. That's part of the, I think I mentioned for the status of my English journey goals, right? I do want to be able to understand people. So feedback regarding that is very helpful, especially if you don't understand something, let me know. That's part of my English journey. I want to improve in that area so that I could be able to communicate in a way that you can be able to understand. Okay, so let's see. We're already at like so 3 hours at least. At this point, does anybody have any further questions, thoughts, or comments? Okay. I think before I end this meeting, I would want to leave off with something. These videos are posted on the International English Cafe YouTube. Let's see, where was that link? Oh, actually, I took that link away, didn't I? So there were previous meetings for some of this. I would say that looking back at it now, those meetings are just too long. So I highly suggest that if you want to have something like a podcast to listen to, then watch like having the meetings that we post onto that YouTube. I think that would be good just to listen to as background noise while you're doing whatever it is, right? Hopefully that way you can absorb English along the way. Because some of those videos are like, my videos are like 1 hour, 1 to 2 hours long. That's just too long for a YouTube video. So I would suggest that, like, if you wanted to listen to something that's like a podcast, this would be good content. Otherwise, like, if you're able to skip along to whatever you want to listen to, that's fine too. My meetings are labeled so that, like, they have topics as the labeling. If you want to listen, or if you want to watch a particular video because of a topic, then there you go. I do separate the comments, and the comments, questions, and thoughts into a different video of its own. I think some of the things I said here might be a little bit too controversial, so I might not post this particular session for the comments, questions, or thoughts. I might cut things out though, if there's anything that's a little bit more kosher. But this is something I would advertise out so that if you have a chance to watch it or at least listen to it, then please do. But otherwise, like, hopefully you guys could at least stop by, click on the video, click on the like button, and subscribe. Yeah, if you have any particular thoughts and things like that or feedback, yeah, let me know. I would like things to help either improve the meeting or just things in general. I don't mind. You will have to message in the group chat first to let me know that like you would like permission to chat with or ask me a question. I think that's more the appropriate way instead of just messaging me straight. Because sometimes I don't know who's messaging me, so I don't tend to respond to a lot of those messages. But other than that, I'm glad that you all joined, and let's see, next week I'll try to figure out a topic. It'll be under the scheme of career development / self-improvement. So at least you have kind of an idea of what the umbrella topic is, but for the specific topic, I'll try to have something by Tuesday night my time, which is Wednesday morning in the Eastern Hemisphere. So I call this meeting adjourned, and yeah, have a good morning, have a good afternoon, and have a good evening for everybody. Take care.
Thank you, Tang. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye-bye.
And click.
Thank you. Bye.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
Words collide like fiddles hum, every accent's welcome some. Round the table, dreams are shared, across the world and love is aired. At the International English Cafe, talk your troubles right away, sip your tea, let stories play. At the International English Cafe, we don't need no passport stamp, just a cozy quarter lamp. Face to face we find the way, in a little cafe day after day. Maps and charts might trace the globe, but here we spin our own wardrobe. Patchwork lives with thread we weave, stories told when you believe. At the International English Cafe, words align like fiddles hum. At the International English Cafe, words collide like fiddles hum, every accent's welcome some. Round a table, dreams are shared, across the world and love is aired. Our love is aired, across the world and love is aired. Across the world and love is aired. English Cafe, we don't need no passport stamp, just a cozy quarter lamp. Face to face we find the way, in a little cafe day after day. Maps and charts might trace the globe, but here we spin our own wardrobe. Here's your face, we find the way, in a little cafe day after day after day. Maps and charts might trace the globe, but here we spin our own wardrobe. But here we spin our own wardrobe. But here we spin our own wardrobe. Patchwork little cafe day. Hey, accent charts might trace the globe. We don't need no passport stamp, just a cozy corner lamp. Face to face we find the way, in a little cafe day after day. Maps and charts might trace the globe, but here we spin our own wardrobe. Here we spin our own wardrobe. Patchwork lives with thread we weave.